Today is March 15th, 2024, and today marks 5 years since my 22-year-old baby sister died of a cosmetic procedure done in Matamoros, Mexico. Now, this video is part 2. If you haven't already watched part 1, please go watch it. It's titled Dangers of a BBL. And in that video, it's me and my mom speaking about the tragic death of my sister due to a surgery which is most known today as a BBL. And it's very common in women, and women all the way from the ages of 18 to in their 50s are getting this procedure done. So I wanted to talk about it today, especially today on this day, because March 15th had a major impact on my life and my family's life. And the reason I say that is because life hasn't been the same since my sister has been gone. And you could imagine, if I feel that way, you can only imagine how my mother feels. So I wanted to talk about life after losing a loved one, how it has been in these past 5 years, and what's going on these days with my mom and myself and my family. So again, if you haven't watched part 1, please take the time to go watch it. But also, when you're able, I would like you to watch this video, the whole thing, because I'm going to be bringing forward some of the comments that were posted on this video below, and how many women came forward giving their story, and how there's also many women who tell us on this video, they comment on this video, why not to do it, and life after a BBL surgery for those women who survived. So let's go ahead and get into it. In today's world, society shows us, or it teaches us, that we have to look a certain way to fit in, or we have to, if we don't have the right body or the right figure, or, the perfect smile or any of this, then we just don't fit in, right? And sadly, my sister, who was 22 years old and was very, very beautiful, decided that she needed to have surgery done. I don't know personally, I don't know why, what really made her make that decision, but I can share with you all, what I really think affected her, and pushed her to make this decision. So my sister was dating a guy, and she fell deep for this guy, but I know that numerous amount of times this guy made her feel like she wasn't enough, and like she didn't look the best, and how he could have better looking women. So, and to top it all off, she became pregnant by this guy, and she had a baby, and her baby was 3 months old when she decided to have this surgery. And I strongly believe that my sister was experiencing postpartum. I believe that she was going through postpartum, and she didn't know what she was going through. Obviously, it was her first baby. I don't think anybody in my family has experienced postpartum, and if they did, they never came forward and actually said, "Oh, I'm going through postpartum." So I believe that my sister was going through postpartum, and being that she just had a baby, if you're a mom, you know that when you have a baby, your body changes, and the way you see yourself, most likely, that changes as well. You don't feel as pretty, you don't feel as attractive, all these emotions are circling, and you don't know how to grab a hold of them. So I believe my sister was experiencing that. And the reason I say that is because 3 weeks before my sister passed away, I went to go see her at her job, and I can tell that she was very down and that she wasn't herself. And I asked her, "Hey, what's wrong?" That's all I asked her. And she said to me, "I'm tired." And she said, "I'm just going through so much, so much. I just don't want to feel like this no more." She said, "I'm going through a whole lot." And then she expressed to me that she was going through a lot with the father of her baby. And, she was crying, and I could tell that she was very hurt, and that, I seen the emptiness in her. I felt it. And the reason I say that is because, if you guys know by now, I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. I have been for 11 years. And my little sister, who decided to do this surgery, also was a believer at some point in time. Now, she experienced something in her walk with God. She went through something, and this caused her to back away from the things of God. Now, I believe that once she backed away from the things of God is when everything started changing. She started making decisions that she never would have made when she was walking with God. She started doing things she would have never done while walking with God, you know. She just was a whole nother person, and this led her up to the decision she made of having a surgery. She was a complete different person, you know, like she was still the same good person in her heart, but what I mean is like she was living a whole nother life, a life that she hadn't lived before, you know. It just, everything had changed, and I seen it in her, and I started noticing she started missing church, and she started missing a service here, a service there, until eventually she wasn't going to church at all anymore. Now this led her to do, you know, other things that she wouldn't have normally done, from, you know, just a whole bunch of other things. I don't want to get too personal because that's still my little sister's business, but you know, she changed, and I noticed that. So when she told me that day, I'm going through so much, I told her this: well, you know what you have to do, Laura. You have to come back to God. You got to make your way back to God and let him fill you, and let him give him the peace that you need, and you know this. And she told me, I know, sis, I know what I have to do, but it's so hard. I just don't know how to get back there. You know, she felt like she was just too deep in what she was doing already, you know, and the lifestyle she was living, that it was hard for her to make her way back to God. And it is true. Once you're so deep, you know, into the lifestyle that you know doesn't please God, it's hard for you to find your way back, but it's not impossible. And God is graceful and he's merciful, you know, and he'll receive you with open arms as long as you repent and ask him to. So I told her, you know what you have to do. And she said, I know, but it's hard, you know. So that was the last time that I had an actual conversation with her, you know. And then March the 13th came, and that was a Wednesday. And that Wednesday she texted me and she said, hey, I want to present my baby, which is my nephew. I want to present him at church. You know, I want to present him in front of the congregation, letting, you know, in front of everybody. I want to let him know that I'm giving him to God, you know, that I want his life to be in Christ. And, you know, this is something we practice in church, and it's something that everyone, you know, I think should do. They should, you know, it's like baptizing your kid, but you're not baptizing your kid. You're presenting your kid before the Lord and in front of the whole congregation, telling God, here, God, I give you my child. Do as you want with him, because I know that you have good plans for him and that he's going to have a good future. So that's what she decided to do. And this was very last minute. This was very, you know, like, so it was a surprise to all of us, but that's what she wanted to do. And that's exactly what she did. And I'm going to share right here with you guys some images of that day. This is the day that she decided to present him, and these are the people who she chose, which is the pastor's daughter, and it was her husband at the time. You know, she chose them, you know, as witnesses, you know, saying that they would be good testimonies to Liam, her son, and that they were witnessing this. And so this was that day, and it was beautiful, and she was happy, you know, like it was beautiful. But little did we know this was the last time I was going to see my sister, and the last time anybody at church was going to see my sister, because her appointment for this surgery was 2 days later, March the 15th, which was a Friday. And so she went to that appointment. You know, I hadn't got to speak to her. I wasn't able to speak to her. The last time I seen her was that Wednesday. And fast forward to Friday. This is Friday, you know, this is her, the day of the surgery. And as you guys can see, this is her and my mom. As you guys can see, my mom didn't look so happy. My mom took this picture with her, but she didn't look so happy that day. My mom had a strong feeling since day one, since my sister told her, Mom, I want to have this surgery. My mom had a feeling that something was not going to be right, that something wasn't going to go right. She had the feeling, you know, it was a mother's instinct. And she shared this with my sister, and my sister still was like, it's okay, Mom, I'm going to do it. You know, she was convinced that that's what she was going to do, and nobody can take her out of that. So they went, you know, my sister decided, like, I'm going to do this surgery. My mom says that she was excited for it, and that she looked forward to the end results, and that she, you know, felt like she was going to come out, or at least that's how she was acting. But right before surgery, she already had an IV on. She had her legs wrapped, because when you get this surgery, the doctors, they wrap your legs so that you won't get blood clots to the heart. And she was in a robe, and she was already ready to go. So she walked over with her IV and the little like walker for it, and she was like, "Mom, it's time, this is the last time you're gonna see me like this. Take a good look, because the next time you see me, I'm gonna have a nice body." She made a joke like that to my mom, and my mom kind of laughed about it, but still in her heart, she's like, my mom knew that wasn't, she just felt something. She felt something strong, but she hoped that what she was feeling was wrong. So the last thing my sister said to my mom right before she passed away was, "Okay, Mom, it's time. Pray for me. I'm going in." And this was a text message that she sent to my mom. That was the very last thing that she sent my mom, and the very last time my mom heard from her before she passed away. So as you guys know, like I said again in the first video, my mom says that she closed her eyes, to fall asleep, because they had been driving hours before the surgery, before the appointment. And she says she felt like she had just closed her eyes when someone came running in there and said, "Hey, your daughter's not responding. She's not waking up." And my mom was like, "What?" My mom ran to the room where my sister was, and she seen where they were trying to resuscitate her. But my mom, months later, it was all coming back to her, because at that moment it was like a blackout for her. Everything was a blur. All she knew was that her daughter was dying right before her eyes. So later on, she shared with me that, she realized like these people at this clinic weren't even equipped like to revive someone if they needed to. They were trying to bring her back with their hands, like just pumping her and pumping her. They had no machines, or they had nothing that they needed or that a hospital would have to try to revive someone, right? So my mom realized that like months later, when time later, when she came back, when she was able to think straight. And so my mom said, that it was a horrible experience, that for 30 minutes my sister was in and out. Her heart was like in and out, her heart rate, her heartbeat, like she would stop, and then it would go, and then it would stop, until finally my mom said she just flatlined. But my mom said that while she was passing away, my mom was yelling at my sister, telling her, Laura, you promised, you said you would come back home with me. It's not supposed to end like this, please. So just imagine what she was feeling at that moment, how she was feeling watching her daughter die right in front of her and not being able to do anything about it. And to something that was 100% avoidable, a surgery that was 100% avoidable, that was not needed. Just imagine how she felt, and the reason I'm sharing these details with you ladies, and you who is watching, whoever's watching me, I'm sharing these details with you guys because this is the truth, okay? This is the truth. This is what a mother experienced that she didn't have to experience this. And this is real, okay? And here we are 5 years later, and my mom, up to this day, cries like it just happened. She hurts like it just happened. She is feeling it like it just happened. Today, on the 15th, March 15th, it's not a happy day for my mom. It's a very sad day. As a matter of fact, the whole week before that day, before that date, the 15th, before today, the whole week before that, every year is just not a good week for my mom since my sister died. She feels it. She feels it in her heart and her body and her physical body. She's still hurting like it just happened. And so me watching my mom go through that, it hurts me. If it hurts me so much, where I've had days in these 5 years, I've had times where I just break down and I cry because I think of my sister and I miss her, and I get angry inside because I'm like, man, why did she make that decision? Like, I wish I had a chance to talk her out of it, and I didn't, because I didn't know she was getting the surgery up until like 3 weeks before or 2 weeks before, and she avoided me. She didn't really want to talk to me, not that she didn't want to talk to me, but she wanted to avoid that conversation, and she knew what I would say to her, so my mom is still hurting up to this day. So if I feel that way, if I'm hurting and I have these days where I'm hurting, imagine how my mom feels, her mother. My nephew was 3 months when my sister died. 3 months. And let me tell you, my sister was the best aunt to our kids that any sister could ask for. And this was before she had my nephew. And then when he came along, she was the best mother to him for those short 3 months. She was the absolute best mother any baby could ask for, any kid could ask for. Her son today is 5 years old. And he has grown to be this smart, young little boy, just adorable, that I love and we all love with all our hearts, minds, and souls. That kid is like, he brings so much joy to my life. I mean, he always wants to be with me, around me, and I feel closer to my sister when he's with me. I love having him. It brings me a comfort. It brings me, a joy in my heart. And so all of this was avoidable. Like, I'm making this video and I'm sharing these details with you because I know that even after this, there's still women that are not convinced. They're not convinced that it's not worth it. They still are willing to take that chance. And it's crazy to me. I know, like, I've had several women reach out and say, well, it was the doctor's fault, or it's because she didn't do her research, or it's because, it's because of this, it's because of that. So many reasons. And it's because she was in Mexico. And no, all of those things, yes, they played into factor. But if you really do your research, there's so many women that are dying so much more often, and it's everywhere in the hands of the best doctors. Like there was this famous young lady named Jackie O. She went and had that surgery here in the States, and she died. You know what I mean? Like, it's not worth it, ladies. Like, please, if you're watching this video, don't do it, especially if you're a mom and you have kids. And even if you don't, there's somebody that loves you, and there's somebody that's gonna hurt 5, 10, 15, 20 years after you're gone. They're still gonna hurt. They're still gonna feel that pain. Like, think about them. I get it. Like, us women, we tend to go through phases a lot of times where we do not feel happy with our bodies. We feel fat. We don't feel happy. We feel like, oh, I wish this was different. I don't like my face. I don't like my chin. All these things, we're our worst critics. But there's no reason at all that you cannot bring to God, and God will heal you from that reason. Whatever your reason is, your specific reason for wanting this surgery is, there's nothing at all that you can't bring to God that he won't heal, if only you will believe. All you have to do is pray. And don't pray one time and say, oh, well, God didn't help me, it still didn't work. No, be persistent in that prayer and say, God, I want this surgery so bad. Be honest with God. I want this surgery. I want to look good. I want to feel good. I want to, but Lord, I know that it's a chance and it's a risk, and I don't need it. Because truth be told, you don't need it. That's the truth. You don't need it. You don't need it. You want it, but you don't need it. Now, let's go back to the root. Why do you want this surgery? A lot of you want this surgery because you want to please that person you're with. You want them to look at you like, oh, this person's that, or a lot of y'all want the surgery because y'all want to be able to show it off, and just y'all want all the attention. Y'all want to be looked at. There's other ladies that might say, no, I want it because I know that once I have it, I'm going to feel better. I'm not going to feel bad no more. Wrong. I have known of many women up to this day that have had that surgery and are not happy. They were for a little bit and they weren't even happy. It wasn't even happy. They were good for a little bit because it brings a temporary fulfillment. But overall, they're like, man, I wish I wouldn't have done it. They have developed complications in their body after surgery. They've developed body dysmorphia. It's so common. Did you know that there is I want to say it's either 41 or 47% rate of women who are not happy with their bodies after cosmetic procedure. 47%. That's a lot. That's a big percentage of, you know what I mean? Like, so a lot of these women get this surgery and they're still not happy. So why, do you want to still do it? Why? Even when you have this surgery, you still have to work out. You still have to keep up with your body. This surgery, if you didn't know, has to be revised, or however you call it, has to be redone again every 10 years. You know what I mean? So you're risking your life again, on top of the complications that you most likely can have years down the line. Not right away, but years down the line. You still have to redo it again and take another big risk. You know what I mean? A lot of women also have said that after this surgery, they notice their bodies like they can't fight off sicknesses easily, or you know, their immune system weakens. Imagine that. Like, why do you want to put yourself in that position? Especially if you're a mom, especially if you have babies, if you have kids. Even if your kids are grown, it don't matter how grown your kids are, they always do, and they always will need you. So I want to share with you guys a few comments that I received. I'm not gonna be able to read all of them, there's so many, but I want to share with you guys a few comments that I have received. I know a few people that had it done, and they all complain of having pain in the butt area, and that's years after of having it done. You're right, it's not worth it. Why do you want to get a surgery that's going to cause you to have complications that you have to deal with later? It makes no sense to me. Honestly, if you're willing to take that risk and go through that pain, then put that pain in the gym. This girl said, it still hurts to sit on hard surfaces longer than 20 minutes. I do have new pains since having the surgery. It hurts to run fast too. People don't mention this. Like, there's so many side effects, there's so many things that happen after surgery, even if you do survive it. Not to mention the high risk you're taking of not surviving it, you know, and then even afterwards, you're still taking a chance of going through so much trauma, you know what I mean? Like, so much, putting your body through so much. Like, this comment says, everyone's experience is different from surgery. I went through a lot after surgery with pain, spending lots on massages, fajas, cushions, etc. I had my surgery 2 years ago. After all the swelling went down, it's not a huge difference. I still have to go to the gym to maintain my results. It made me self-conscious because I am always wondering, did my butt get smaller, or is it the fat coming back that they liposuctioned out? I say it's not worth it to put your life on the line for results you have to maintain. No matter what, you're going to end up going to the gym. I can't speak for everyone. That's just my experience. It's the pressure of society and social media, honestly. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You're wonderfully made, and as long as you know that, that's all that matters. Surgery can also be addictive, because I know a lot of girls that went back for round 2 BBLs because they are not happy with the results. Thank you for posting this. A plastic surgeon once told me, the only way to not have complications from plastic surgery is to not have plastic surgery. A surgeon said that. Imagine that. My mom had a BBL mommy makeover in 2018. 2 weeks later, she couldn't breathe. We rushed her to the ER. The doctor told us if we had came in 30 minutes later, she would have been gone. She had multiple blood clots in her lungs from the surgery. In that moment, it felt like my world was crashing. I had never been so stressed in my life, crying every day because we didn't know the blood thinners would cause bleeding out. I stayed by her side and cried out to God daily. By God's grace, God gave her another chance at life. I am entirely grateful for his goodness and mercy. She regrets it till this day. Please, please, please listen to these ladies. Until you see death on your loved one's face, you will never understand how helpless, distraught, and panic it is. I may not know what you're going through, but please think about everything thoroughly. Your life is not only for yourself. Thank you both for sharing your story. May God grant you all the peace that surpasses understanding. Wow, this comment honestly just, wow, like, it's all I can say. My mom had liposuction done and things went wrong here in the States. It's a well-known place in Florida. The anesthesiologist messed up. I still can't even talk about it to this day, and this was several years ago. Thank God she is still here with us and is okay. This is a comment that I find to be very, like, I agree with her for sure. Like, listen to what she says. I'm in the medical field. Before any surgery, you have to get medical clearance form signed from a lung doctor, heart doctor, primary care doctor, and have blood work done, all prior to getting anesthesia. The sad thing is that there is not much awareness or information for the public unless you go to college and study cells, the body. There is not enough information or awareness for public. I'm extremely sorry for your loss. The human body is extremely complicated. Even getting breast augmentation has so many complications mentally and physically. Your body is a temple. Your body is a mix of your mom and dad. Love yourself. Love your nose, ears, because you represent your parents. Social media makes you feel like you have to be perfect. No, delete it. Log off. Follow people that inspire you. Love and live humble. This is tragic. I'm so sorry. She's absolutely right. Like, it all comes back down to social media. I mean, where do people even get this idea of wanting a BBL? They say, like, women, I've heard many women say, I'm doing this for me, because if I'm happy, then that means I can be the best version of myself, and my family will be happy because I'm happy. Wrong. That's false. Where do you think they even get this idea from? If there was never any BBL done at all, then no women would have ever thought of getting this BBL. But it's something that's very popular and very common these days. I lost my best friend on April 21st, 2018 due to complications from BBL surgery. Everything seemed okay after her surgery, but 4 weeks post-surgery, she called me and her mom complaining of having trouble breathing. A blood clot formed in her thigh, calls from the surgery that wasn't detected during any of her follow-ups. The clot traveled to her lungs. She died in the emergency room 3 days after complaining about it. Sorry for your loss. I'm still not over the death of my best friend. You guys, there's so many comments that I can continue reading. Please, and if you haven't had the chance to watch the video that I already posted, part 1, please go watch it and go read these comments for yourself. So it's so many things that can happen, so many things that can go wrong. And honestly, if you're watching this video and if you've made it this far in the video, even if you didn't make it this far in the video, if you're watching this video, I know 100% that there's a reason why you came across this video. And if you're still considering getting this surgery, please don't get it. Please don't get the surgery. Pray about it. If you don't know how to pray, or if you're not a believer, still pray about it, because God is real and God is faithful to pull you through and to get you out of those feelings. I have been in a situation where I have felt unhappy with something, and I've prayed and I've talked to God and I've handed it over to God, and the what he gives me in return is what I could have never imagined. The peace, the joy, and the assurance. So allow God to do this for you. I know it may seem impossible and you may think like, nah, there's no coming out of this. I want this. This is the only way out. That's a lie from the enemy, honestly, because I'm a believer in everything spiritual. The Bible teaches us that everything is spiritual, and the enemy is at work, whether it's through these surgeries, there is so many ways, but for the sake of today, I'm talking about this surgery. The enemy is at work, and he is the one who has placed that in your mind to have that surgery done. He's the one that's placed that, because after that surgery, it doesn't stop there. Either you die from it, or you're going to have complications from it, or it's going to cause more problems in your life, and the enemy knows this. So he's the reason behind this. So please consider everything that you heard today, or not even so much consider it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. I pray that if you're watching this video, that the Lord has already reached you, and I pray that you're convinced that you're no longer going to do it. And honestly, I will be praying that everybody who has came across this video, everybody who has decided to do this surgery, will no longer do it. And so I just want to say thank y'all. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching this video. This video was made in honor of my sister Lara. Today marks 5 years that we have gone with a missing part of us. You know, today's 5 years that we've been without my sister, who she's missed dearly. And you know, I wish I could show you guys my feelings, like show them how it feels. You know, it sucks really bad, but I will always honor her by bringing awareness. I will always do that as long as God allows me to. I will always speak about it, and I will always speak against surgeries, you know, because I know that nobody and nothing can fill you and bring you peace, comfort, and joy. Nobody can and nothing can but the Lord. You just have to trust him. So again, thank y'all for watching this video. God bless y'all. And again, I pray that this video was a blessing to y'all, and that you truly are convinced that you don't need this surgery at all. So thank y'all again. God bless y'all.